Good afternoon students, welcome to your online class of today, and today we are going to learn or start learning about a new lesson. And in the last class we have discussed about your answer paper, that was PT3 paper, and I hope many of the students participated and some of you didn't participate. So today we will be discussing about lesson 10. Okay, so let's go to lesson 10. Students, are you ready? It's a wonderful story about some animals. Okay, you all like to hear animal stories, I know that. In my childhood also, I too like to hear about the stories of animals. So here today we are going to discuss about the story of some animals and a problem which they have faced and how they together try to solve the problem. Right? It's none other than two jackals. You may be knowing the animal which is jackal. Jackal is not a fox, not a wolf. It's a mix of both. We can say that it's in between. It looks like that of a fox in size, but its face is like that of a wolf. Okay, this animal is called a jackal. It's a wild animal. Okay, and it's not a big animal, it's not a small animal, it's a medium sized animal. Okay, and here these jackals, these two jackals named Haka and Paka are the central character of our story. And there is one more animal which is called a more. You know what is the meaning of more in Hindi, right? What is the meaning of more, children? If you know the answer, you can type in your live chat column. What is the meaning of more? In Hindi, you may be knowing the meaning of more, right? So you may type in the live chat column what is the meaning of more. M-O-R, more. More means, you know this bird, right? It's a very quite familiar bird, right? More means peacock. So here the character more, which is mentioned in the lesson 10, borrowed feather, is a peacock, right? The peacock had some problem and Haka and Paka tried to help more to solve the problem, and as Haka and Paka found they are not too clever to solve the problem, they took the help of a third animal, of a fourth animal. Haka and Paka are twin jackals. Twin jackals means what, you know? Twins means judua. Okay, so they were judua jackals and they took the help of the cleverest animal in the forest. You know, the wisest, as wise as dash. What is that? As wise as an owl. So they took the help of Ulluji. The name of the owl which is there in this story is called a Ulluji. So previously I told you, whenever you hear a story, write the name of the characters. First, which character is coming in the story. Here in this story, Haka and Paka are coming. So we have to write Haka and Paka. Then second, more appears. Then third, hunters appears. Then fourth, Ulluji appears. So we can connect the story in such a way. So this is how you can connect and remember the stories easily. Okay, and the last characters are peacocks, the friends of more. They are called the peacocks, right? So let's start learning this lesson. And students, as I told you in the last class, now 18 students are attending the class. I am telling you there may not be any notifications in your class group for the classes, as it is Monday and many students were absent in the last class. I just gave the notification today, but Wednesday and Friday you will be having no notifications. You have to attend the class according to the timetable. If there is no class, then you will get the information in the WhatsApp group, or if there is any change in the timing of the particular class, then you will get notification. Now it is PT3 is also over and you are familiar with the timetable, I hope. your class will begin at 12:30 on Monday and Friday. 12:30 to 1 is your English class, and on Wednesday your class will be from 1:30 to 2. Okay, so I hope you know your timetable and the timing of your class. Okay, so let's begin the class. I hope you are ready to start this lesson. And before I start this lesson, I would like to tell you students one thing, that you need to read the lessons. Shyam Sahu, I think Anushka Sahu, right? Shreya Sahu, I hope. Okay, I don't know the names of these two Sahus, but you understood why I am calling your name, right? Good. So I am just reminding you, you should start reading the lessons, okay? Because you are not physically present in front of me, I can't insist you to read the lesson. Otherwise, you know that I make the children to read the lesson, right? Now you must read the lessons. Otherwise, your touch with English will go, your fluency in reading will go within no time. Okay, we were working on English for a long time to develop fluency in you. Shyam Sahu. But who has logged in the name of Shyam Sahu? Please type the name. The child who has logged in with the ID Shyam Sahu, please type your name. So you read this lesson, borrowed feathers, from beginning to end. Okay, and underline the new words, whatever the words which you find new in spelling. If you don't know the spelling, if you don't know the meaning, underline it, then write it in the notebook. Okay, so this is the assignment for you today. Read the lesson, underline the words which are new for you in spelling or in meaning, and write it in your notebook. This Shyam Sahu child didn't write the name, bete. Who is that child? Please type your name. I think you two are twins, right? I am waiting for your name, bete. Who is that? So that I can call you and I can tell you what you should do in the online class and what you should not do, right? Okay, now let's start the lesson. So you know the name of the lesson. It is borrowed feathers. Look at the title and read borrowed feathers. Many a time, yes, Anvai, thank you for providing the name. It is Anushka Sahu itself. Anushka, please don't post emojis in the class. When the online class is going on, please don't post the emojis in the online class. Please remove the emojis immediately, because it will distract the students, those who are attending the class seriously. Okay, Anushka Sahu, and one more is there, I think it is Shreya Sahu. I am not sure about the name. So you please remove the particular emojis which you have posted in my class group. Okay, now you might have borrowed many things from your friends. Maybe you will forget your pencil one day or eraser, and we borrow it from our friends, right? And we use it in the class. But here you see it is borrowed feathers. Some animal or somebody has borrowed the feathers. Pang. Why? For what? That is this lesson all about. That's why the title is borrowed feathers. Okay. So if you don't know the spelling of borrowed, learn it and write it. Okay. Now let's see what is this particular lesson all about. Now you can see 2 plus 1, 3 animals in this particular slide. Look, who are they? Haka and Paka, the twin jackals. Twin means Judua, I told you. So you can see 2 twin jackals. Haka and Paka, the twin jackals, were eating some juicy berries. Wow. Suddenly, they saw More the peacock running down the path. The poor bird looked frightened. See, Haka and Paka were two twin jackals. Judwa jackal the. Anushka, I saw you are okay, but you haven't removed it. Okay. Haka and Paka were twin jackals, and they were munching, eating ripe red color berries in the forest. You can see the berries also in the picture. While they were munching these berries, tasting the juicy berries, they saw a bird running down very fast. They just looked, and it was More, their friend, a peacock. It was very much frightened. When do we get frightened? When something unpleasant happens in our life, or something very fearful, dreadful happens in our life, or when we see something which is very much means horrible. When we see something which is very horrible in our life, then we get frightened. Here, you see, whenever we see snake, we get frightened. Even though snake doesn't do anything, it goes on its way, then also we get frightened, right? Here, More was frightened. That means something happened to More, or More might have seen something which is unpleasant, right? So let's see what is that. Now, look here. What's wrong, More bhai? Haka asked. When we see someone frightened or somebody has some problem, definitely we will ask what is the problem, right? So here, immediately Haka, a good friend, he has asked, what's the problem, More bhai? Kya hua? Then, we are in great trouble, Haka. More, in response, just turned and said to Haka, Haka, हमको बहुत बड़ा problem होने वाले हैं. We are in big trouble. Means there is a big problem going to happen to the wild animals. The humans are hunting for us. What is the big problem? The humans are hunting us. That means, people, human beings go for hunting the animals in the forest for meat, feathers, and for their oil, flesh, all those things, right? So here, the particular humans, they are called hunters. Those who are entering the forest without the permission and hunting down the animals are called hunters, shikaris, right? So here, the humans are hunting us. Who is telling? More is telling to Haka and Paka. That means some people have entered that particular forest and they are killing the animals, especially the peacocks. They want our feathers. Why are they killing the peacocks? To take out the feathers. You might have seen the feather of the peacock. It's beautiful, pretty beautiful, right? So, these particular hunters are killing the peacocks for taking out the feathers. They want to make fans out of them. More sobbed. You might have seen the feathers and the fans made out of peacocks, right? So here the More is telling that the humans are killing and taking away all the beautiful feathers and making fans out of it and selling it in the market. So More was sobbing. You know what is sobbing? It's a kind of cry. Sobbing is a kind of cry in which sound is not coming out. I will just show you what is sobbing. You can look at me now. This type of cry, there is, if the animal is so frightened and crying for a long time, then the sobbing comes. You might have seen it and you might have done it in yourself, right? But you may not be knowing this word sobbing, right? So More sobbed. और को इतना दुख और डर लगा के the More started sobbing. Now, what is that Asad Said mom writing? You no need to write now. If you have to write, I will tell you. Okay. Now look at the monitor and read the lesson. Okay. And understand the meaning. Okay. There was the sound of footsteps and voices. There was the sound of footsteps and voices. That means somebody is coming to that direction. Humans coming in this direction. More took off. He flew up to a high branch and hid himself there. Haka and Paka dived into a bush. So here, when More heard the voices and the footsteps, immediately he understood it's the humans who is coming in search of More. So he just told Haka and Paka in a low voice, alerted them, humans coming in this direction. अरे यार मनुष्य आ रहे हैं, यहाँ ही आ रहे हमारे पास. Then More took off without making much sound of his wings. He just took off, flew up and just sat on a branch silently, hid his feathers as nicely as he could, and he hid in thick leaves on top of a tree. He hid himself between the leaves very well. And Haka and Paka, they are also frightened because it's humans. They don't know what the humans will do. Maybe they will kill Haka and Paka also. So Haka and Paka, without wasting any time, immediately they dived into a bush. You know, usually we use the word dived relating with the water. Dived into the swimming pool, dived into the water. Here they dived into the bush means the bush is so thick. The growth of the bush in the forest is so thick. That's why the particular word is used. They dived into the bush and they hid between the leaves. They took the leaves and covered them and sat there nicely. They thought they are safe. Now whether they are safe or not, let's see. Some tough looking men appeared. So you know the hunters are very strong and they are cruel. They have no feeling for the animals. So that's why this particular word is used to describe the hunters. Tough looking. Tough looking is an adjective which is describing the men. Some tough looking men appeared means some tough looking people, bhayankarlo, takatwar. They came into the forest. They came into that particular direction. They held peacock feathers in their hands. That means they have already killed many peacocks and they have taken the feathers of the peacocks. So they held peacock feathers in their hands. They looked around for more. They were chasing more. So they looked around for this particular bird, that is More. Asan said, I hope you can understand what I told to Anushka Sahu. I have seen your query, I have given you answer. Don't post emojis, I will block. Those students, those who are posting the emojis during the instruction, I will block you. Remove it immediately. They looked around for more. The hunters looked around for more. To kill more also and to take the feathers of that particular bird, poor bird, right? That silly bird came this direction, shouted one of the men. When they were not able to find more, one of the men got angry. So he shouted, वो तो पक्षी यही तरफ आया है, यहाँ ही आया है. That silly bird has come to this direction only, he said. And they looked around, nowhere they could find more because he was hiding so nicely in between the leaves. So one of the men, one of the hunter shouted because they didn't get more, he was very disappointed. They searched everywhere, but more was well hidden. After a while, they gave up and left the forest. थोड़ी देर के बाद वो लोग क्या किया, थक गया, मोर को ढूंढ ढूंढ के थक गया, बहुत सारे फेदर्स मिल गया, तो वो लोग क्या क्या सोचा, ठीक है आज के लिए घर वापस जाते हैं, कल आके बाकी पक्षियों को पकड़ेंगे, बाकी पीकॉक्स को पकड़ेंगे. So what did they do? They just gave up their search and they returned. They went out of the forest. That means they returned to their home. Haka and Paka came out of the bush. More came down from the tree. They began to think. Now Haka and Paka really understood the seriousness of the situation. So Haka and Paka came out of the bush. They were also really frightened. Now more slowly, after looking from the top of the tree, he ensured that the hunters moved far away. If he come out from the tree, come down from the tree, the hunters will not see him. He ensured that, and slowly he came down from the tree. Haka and Paka, they were waiting for him. They three looked at each other. They understood the situation is very serious. So they began to think for a solution to solve the problem. Now Haka and Paka understood that today they will kill peacocks. Tomorrow they will kill other animals. So their turn, jackal's turn also will come very soon. So they silently came out and started thinking for a plan to get rid of these humans from the forest. Now whether they came up with a plan or not, let's see. Let's ask Ulluji for advice, Paka suggested. Ulluji came out of his hole in the jamun tree. The three friends told him of the problem. Ulluji sat perfectly still for about 10 minutes. Now you see, just a minute, bete. Okay. Here Haka and Paka, they came, they just told more that they will meet Ulluji, the wise bird, in the particular forest. They decided to go to Ulluji for getting a plan, because Ulluji helps all the animals whenever they are in trouble. So they had a hope that Ulluji will definitely find a solution for their problem. So they went to Ulluji's residence, Ulluji's home. Where did Ulluji live, you know? Ulluji lived on a jamun tree. He lives in a hall on the trunk of the tree. So he was sleeping, he was in very good sleep when Haka, Paka and more reached there. They called Ulluji loudly, Ulluji, 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 please come out. They started calling. So Ulluji heard their sound and he came out, and he just rubbed his eyes and looked down, and these three friends, Haka, Paka and more, narrated the problem, the trouble to Ulluji. Now Ulluji understood the problem, which is very serious, and Ulluji sat perfectly still for about 10 minutes. जैसे के जैसे लोग आते हैं वैसे के वैसे सवाल देने से थोड़ा सा डिग्निटी नहीं मिलता है ना. तो उल्लू जी ने क्या किया, थोड़ा सा नाटक किया, परफेक्टली 10 मिनट्स ऐसा आंखें बांध के, बीच में खोल के, फिर भी आंखें बांध के, जैसे बहुत ज़्यादा सोच रहे हैं, बुद्धिमान की नाटक करके थोड़ा प्रेस्टीज के लिए थोड़ा सा एक्टिंग किया. ओके, सो नाउ आफ्टर that particular 10 minutes, whether Uluji got any idea to help these animals, whether he has helped them or not, let's see on Wednesday. Okay, so Wednesday your timing is 1:30 to 2, so be live to see the rest of the lesson. Okay children, so till then it's a bye from me.